for those of us that are avid runners in here, those who have you ever run a marathon, please raise up your hands if you've ever run a marathon. When you did, what, did you just decide one day I'm going to run a marathon and then you just went and did it?
Not necessarily.
It's not, I'm just asking. So you had to practice, you had to keep trying day in, day out until you got to that point where you were able to run the marathon. You probably weren't the fastest runner when you ran the marathon, but you completed the task. So, what I'm going to talk about is also in like manner. I'm going to talk about Philippians chapter 3, from verse 12, where pretty much Paul just lets us know how as Christians, how as children of God, how as people that the Lord has already called into His kingdom, into the work of salvation, how we're supposed to live our lives and to continue to do that which He has put upon us to do. And Paul says, not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Christ Jesus. Behold, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if in anything ye be otherwise minded, God shall reveal even this unto you. Nevertheless, whereunto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same thing. Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk as ye have us for an example. So, and I think the one thing first of all you need to understand is, Paul says that for the task for which Christ has placed a hold on you, the fact that you're here today means that Christ has placed a hold on you. The Christ that you've aligned yourself with Christ and you identify yourself as a Christian means that Christ has laid a hold of you. And it's so funny when they had the women's retreat luncheon yesterday, as the two speakers, Sister Victoria, Sister when she spoke yesterday, Sister Juliana also did the revival. At times I was like, okay, you guys kind of getting into my mind because the things that I wanted to speak about. And Juliana said something about when you're born because you're considered that Christ has deposited something into. I am saying that Christ has deposited Himself into you. And He's saying that every single day of your life, you approach it like you have not achieved anything. With everything God has placed upon you, are you a chorister? Are you a prophet? Are you a preacher? Are you an evangelist? Never for once think that you have already attained the mark. Because the moment you start believing that you've already achieved it, you've already done it, you've already started your downward fall. Plain and simple. You've already failed. He says approach each day like you have not attained anything. He said keep pressing on. And to press on means to apply pressure. Every day, work out your salvation. Every day, press on to attain that goal. And not the goal that is within your grasp, but that thing which you cannot grasp, that thing that is beyond your reach. Reach out for God every single day. God is saying that, you know, as a preacher, because you preached a great sermon today, doesn't mean that if you have to preach a week from today, you don't have to prepare. There has to be preparation every single day. As a choir member, because you come to choir practice and you practice a song, doesn't mean that when you leave choir, you know, the choir practice, which many of us don't, where the practice should continue. It is the only way you can keep trying to run that race to achieve that prize, which is perfection. Now, and the thing is, oftentimes we make excuses as to why we can't do this. You know, I'm too busy. I don't have time. The children God has given me, they have to go to school. I have to do homework. I have to do this. I have to do that. We come up with every excuse known to man. But what Paul is telling us, whatever excuses you want to come up with, I even have 10 times more excuses, but still it was not enough to stop me from doing the work of God. Paul was in prison several times, and even while he was in prison was when you got many of the letters that we now read today. He was beaten, he was thrown out at sea, he was naked, he was everything you can think of, he went through it. But he said that even despite everything I have gone through, I am still saying that, and I can boast that I have attained perfection. I have worked harder than any one of you. But even still, I am saying that I have not even done anything. I haven't reached it. You have to keep working every single day of your life. You know, there's a story that I read, in the book of Luke 13:20, and this is Jesus Christ, our perfect example. It says, the same day there came certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, get thee out and depart hence, for Herod will kill thee. And what Jesus said was just so amazing. And he said unto him, go ye and tell that fox. Now, when I read that, I was like, okay, Jesus could have said, go and tell that wicked man Herod, go and tell that evil person, but he said, go and tell that fox. Now, what is the definition of a fox? This is a clever and cunning person. So every excuse that you come up with it's in your mind sounds valid, but it is the devil trying to impede your growth in the work God has called you to. He said, go and tell that fox, behold, that I will cast out devils, go ye and tell that fox, behold, I cast out devils, and I do cures, today and tomorrow, and the third I shall be perfected. Nevertheless, I must walk today and tomorrow, and the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet perish out of Jerusalem. So they say that this man is going to come and kill you. And then Jesus is like, go tell this guy that, you know what, let him come. I am not going to live today. What God has called me to do, I will do it today. I will do it tomorrow. I will do it the day after. But I will keep pressing on. The word, press on. Press on. What does that mean? Apply pressure. Every day, seek to be better. In whatever God has put upon you, seek to be better. If you think you did 100% today, guess what? Tomorrow it is not enough. If you've ever worked in sales, and I worked as a financial advisor, absolutely hated it. If you made a goal of $1 million today, next month they expect you to do 1.5 million. It's never enough. So the same way Christ is saying that, do not set limits on yourself, because you know the goals you set for yourself yesterday are kindergarten goals. God is saying that I have now put you in high school, and yet you're still holding on to when I was in kindergarten. I was the best in my math class. I got A's. What has that got to do with you being in secondary school now? How has the glory of yesterday got to do with what the Lord has placed in front of you today? And that is what so many of us do. We hold on to the glory of yesterday. We hold on to the successes of yesterday. We hold on to the failures of yesterday. And Paul is saying, do not look back. Do not say that because you succeeded yesterday, you're not going to do more to be better today. Do not say that because you failed yesterday, you're going to be a failure today. He said that if you're going to look back, just look at what are the things I can learn from the mistakes I made. But don't hold on to that to let that stop you from doing the work of God. And then it said that, oh, you guys be example. I am an example unto you. How many of you can say you're examples unto the people following you? How many of you? As prophets, as choristers, as church members, how many of you can actually boast to say, I'm an example to the younger generation? We have all failed each other. I'm sorry. We make excuses day in day why we cannot do things. I cannot come to practice because this, because that. I cannot come for the prophet service because this, because that. I cannot do the... But God is saying that enough of the excuses. We keep saying we're going to work for God. This church is the last foot of salvation. I know that this voice of Christ is the vessel God is going to use. But what are you people doing? Enough of the excuses. You want so many foxes in our lives. Excuses. My children this, my work that. Isn't it this God who has provided all these things unto you? And he said that wake up every day like it's a clean slate. And understand, because we keep praying to God for miracles. But God, the thing about it is God is a major businessman. If you put in 5%, God will deposit 5% back into you. If you invest 199.9%, then God will multiply that in multiple folds. That is the God we serve. There's a reason why he gave 1 talent to one, 2 talents to one, and 5 to another. And then the one with the 1 talent that went to go and save because he didn't want anything to happen to him and just brought it back onto Christ. Christ is like, get away from me. He took that 1 talent and gave to the person that had the most. That had the most. So the question unto you is that, how are you pressing on? What are you doing to advance the work of God? You know, we are all spiritually relaxed. We have all relaxed. I'm sorry, I remember once upon a time in this church when they want to do prayers, we are competing. I want to be the one to do that. Now when they're looking for people to come and pray all over, we're looking for people to do things. We all have excuses. Cleaning the church, excuses. Even the younger generation, because they're watching us. So what examples are we laying for those people? Paul is saying that press on. Apply pressure each day. Choose to be better each day. To not relax in the work God has called you to do. In your spiritual life, in your physical life, in your jobs, in everything that you do. Because people depend on it. And I'm sure there's one thing I want to end with. Which sister, Jay... She said that, but funny enough, I actually, when I tuned into the BET Awards last week, and when Tyler Perry actually got an award, and there was something he said that I was like, wow. He was like, for every dreamer, and here I'm going to say for every believer, for every church worker, he was like, there are people whose lives are tied to your dreams. Own your destiny, own your dreams. So to everything the Lord has placed upon you, there are people whose successes are tied to yours. We are hungry for growth. The people in front of us, what are you doing to help us be better? Choir members, we have failed. I'm sorry. Because our practice ends here. We don't go back home to go and do more. How are you going to improve yourself? Prophets, sermons, everybody, we have all failed. If you feel you've done enough, I am sorry, you have failed completely. But it is time to wake up from that spiritual slumber. We're so happy to, I thought it was kind of cool when I came up with this, that we're also happy to sweep in the still waters of mediocrity. Wow. When God is saying that jump into the raging ocean of greatness, there are going to be storms, but jump in there because I am with you. Because your focus is heaven, your focus is God. Something that is beyond your reach, and you will try every day to attain that goal. Press on.